Hello everyone, welcome back to a new world record. Yeah, this is my first upload of the 0.2 patch, and I've been really busy with university lately, so I haven't really had enough time to grind, right? But yeah, Easter break happens and now we are back. So this run is pretty insane, not because of the run itself, because I actually think this is a really poorly played run by me, but the tech used that we discovered in the new update is really funny, to be honest, and it's completely busted. So yeah, I'm going to explain what I'm doing. Yeah, so the Huntress, like the spear skills, appear to be extremely bad early on, as everyone knows at this point. However, we can abuse and I'll explain what the hell is happening in a second. We can abuse a super gem called Stomping Ground to scale our damage based on our strength, and we can use skills that move us, such as Disengage and Rake, to apply that support gem many times and basically destroy the boss by stacking its strength. Now, what you saw me doing there was an extremely important part of the run. I am basically holding down my whirlwind keybind, and then I'm tapping the parry button for like 1 or 2 frames, or for as little as possible. What this does is I do the dash and I go fast, and then I parry and I cancel the rest of the animation, which generally slows you down. So if you chain this together in a nice rhythm, you go extremely fast, and you're gonna see this throughout the entire run, especially once I unlock Rake at level 6, which is just insane. Now, yeah, you just get good after doing this fight with spears. A lot of times what I do, I just whirlwind whenever there's mobs to kill them, and I just basic attack the boss. Now here at Renly, I usually would get a 200. However, lately I've been experimenting with crossbows, and they actually appear, in my opinion, to be better than 200s for this really specific strat that I'm going for. And it's much safer, and you'll see why later. But yeah, as you can see, we are zooming like right from the gate. Level 2 character, we just have to chug a lot of mana pots. That's the only downside of it. But yeah, I'm not even grabbing the extra gem because I don't need it. I already have my Disengage, which will be used later. And here we are with the Ice Witch. This is actually pretty low damage because it's a white crossbow, right? Ideally you want to drop a blue one with some extra damage from Miller, which actually isn't that uncommon, because we can drop 200s and crossbows, right? And either one of those works, even though crossbows are better for this. But yeah, I just killed this witch. Really easy fight. However, since we don't have a 200, the wolves that she spawns can actually be quite of a hassle to deal with. What I do is I just cast Whirlwind, as I'm about to do, like 3 times before they spawn, and then when they all come in the circle, I explode it and they die, and that's it. So yeah, now here, I don't know why the hell I grabbed that Great Hammer. I already have a crossbow. I guess muscle memory. But yeah, here we're entering the Girlwood really slowly actually. This is like 30 seconds slower than ideal. We get a nice amulet, and yeah, I transmute the crossbow because we are gonna need a lot of damage. Now, Grelwood has changed yesterday, like literally yesterday. As you can see now, there's a checkpoint in this, in the Hidden One tree. And before there was no checkpoint, so we had to like do weird shenanigans with portaling out and back and forth. Yeah, now here I'm just looking for the witch hut. It's pretty random on Huntress. I feel like, yeah, I mean, I do a really poor job here of gauging where the borders of this zone are. so that's my bad. It usually never happens, I usually get it really fast, but yeah, now I see it. What I do is I just reset a checkpoint, so I get rid of all the wolves, because I don't actually have a way of killing the mobs right now, right? Like, my only AoE is whirlwind, and it sucks for DPS. Yeah, now if I had a two-hander, I would have to reroll this witch. I would have to reset a checkpoint and roll her again until she doesn't have these deadly mods, because that's the thing with two-hander, you have to be melee, and she actually hurts a lot from melee, because you have to deal with the ice stuff that she leaves on the ground, and she actually hits like a truck. So that's why I think crossbows are the best option for this strategy, just for this fight alone, right? I was like resetting 2/3 of my melee runs because I died to her, and there's nothing I could do many times. Now here is where everything changes. I get my super gem, I go disengage, and I get stomping ground. Now this is the most broken super gem ever, and it used to be fine last day, right? However, since the new addition of the really movement based skills for the Huntress, we noticed that stomping ground actually works with them, and we get like 2 stomps for every use of them for some reason, which is just completely broken, and we can just get a lot of flat damage deterministically just by grabbing the strength nodes in our tree. Now my entire tree for this run is gonna be strength nodes, and that's literally it, except for the level 6 dexterity node that I have to get in order to use rake at all, right? And what this means is that I'm gonna have a lot of life, and I'm talking like at least 300, 350 life every single run. What this means is that the later portions of the run, for example Manor and like the executioner area and stuff, are gonna be extremely easy, and you will like never die there, because you just two-shot all of the mobs and you just dash through and they hit you and they do nothing because you have armor and stuff. Yeah, now at level 2 you do no damage because you don't have any strength really, but as you saw, now I got 5 more strengths with me, which means I have 12 strength, and I actually pretty much double my damage with that level up right there. Now I'm extremely washed up. Like, I don't remember the entire 40 pages of the PDF document for all of the Red Veil layouts, and unfortunately this is one of the ones that I fucked up. And yeah, I get the first 2 really fast, but the third one is gonna take me like 3 years to get, I think. I believe this is the run. That's a slow run. I waste like 1 minute. However, the good thing is that by running around like an idiot, like what am I even doing checking to the right, like there's nothing there. Yeah, by running around like an idiot I can kill monsters and get to level 6 faster, which doesn't really matter because I would get level 6 before Asinia anyways. But I lose a minute here, but it's not really a minute lost, you know what I mean, like it's more like 40 seconds or 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm just making up excuses at the point. Now, look where I reset to checkpoint here. I'm like, nah, no way the last obelisk is there. So I check down here, because normally when there's like a big island like this, they make like a triangle, or like 2 of them spawn, like at the edges. Now I'm checking here, and there's obviously, like in hindsight, I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like such a noob watching this. Now I'm gonna check the top of the thing. There's gonna be nothing. And by the way, you can see how disengage with stomping ground is absolutely insane. Like, I'm one-shotting all of these. It has insane AoE, insane mobility. You just jump on top of a pack and it dies, and that's it. Now, some people spam disengage to go faster. However, spamming whirlwind with the parry tech is just much better if you actually know how to time it. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm like falling asleep or something in my chair. Yeah, there's also pretty interesting fact about this whirlwind and parry tech and rake tech that you will see later on in the round. When you are using this whirlwind trick, you actually wanna press with your like WASD keys the direction that you wanna go. So for example, if I'm using the whirlwind trick to go to the right, I wanna hold D while I do it. But when I'm doing the same thing with rake, you apparently go much faster if you don't touch your WASD keys at all. For some reason they like slow your movement or something, and yeah. Now this fight is just extremely smooth and easy. You just jump on top of him, and if you want you can like fire a crossbow shot in between every jump, but the crossbow does like no damage to him compared to the jump, so you would save like 1 second or something. Yeah, I'm just grabbing everything, and yeah, now these are extremely, I mean, I say that as I fuck up completely the red veil, right? But these are supposed to be really optimized runs, so I am trying to stop at town the least amount of time possible, and you'll see later in the run I barely never stop in town to check vendors. I think this is the only time that I do, and I mean I do get 8 strength gloves, which are insane. I always check really for strength gear, and basically your entire gear in the run, like your whole objective is to get strength on gear, and that's it. If you get lucky, if you get like a amulet or a belt with 12 strength or something like that, you're set. Like that's the entire thing that you really need. Now here, when you talk to Una and you respawn at checkpoint, I don't know, it sorts of like load a secondary zone, so your flasks replenish. This means that you don't have to use the well in town before you enter the Grim Tangle, which is pretty cool. Saves like, I don't know, a third of a second or something. As I said, I'm washed up. I don't remember all of the Grim Tangle things anymore. I probably confused this for another similar one, similar layout, and yeah, it's not to the left. But in a bit I'm gonna recognize what this layout is, and it's basically the S layout. You just go to the right and then to the left again, and it's pretty easy, one of the easiest layouts. As you can see, the clear is pretty smooth. You just keep moving in the direction you're going, you just jump on top of monsters when there are. Like as you can see, I'm not even backtracking for Scrolls of Wisdom, which, I mean, that could be a mistake from my part, I don't really know. I'm just not stopping because these runs are really tight. I really wanted to get a sub 35 before uploading a video. I got like 4 sub 36, but I never got a sub 35, so I'm like trying to save every single second. Now here I instantly get the Praetor, which is great. Now we are just looking for Asinia, and I am almost level 6, which means we are about to see the rake strat. Yeah, it's basically like disengage but twice as OP. Yeah, like as you can see, I'm faster than these ghoul or gaul, I don't know the pronunciation of these cemetery monsters, which are extremely fast. Yeah, this rake strat that you're gonna see is so good, and as you can see, I get the dexterity, I get rake, I put stomping ground on rake, and I completely swap out my whirlwind for rake. Now what I'm gonna do is just do the same thing that I was doing for whirlwind, aiming as far out as possible with like my mouse. This way, if there's a very far away monster, it will dash you to that monster instead of dashing you to closer ones. Yeah, you just go faster. And as you will see, like what the hell is this clear? This is like flicker strike, you know, at level 6. Now I could have gotten that checkpoint to refill my flask, but I'm high rolling this like crazy. As I said, I'm just going for the fastest possible splits in every single section. Now there's nothing here, and I turn, and this is the kind of layouts where the boss arena is like inside of the square, like in the middle. And this is actually an insane read. Really, really fast Assinia Tomb. Now, I would like to be at this point like 30 seconds before what I'm right now, like at 14-15 would be ideal for pacing purposes, but this is fine. Also, the spear that you have doesn't matter almost at all, because it only affects the initial rake hit, right? But we are scaling the stomping ground damage, so it can matter like against Assinia and Draven, because you get a little bit more initial damage, but as the run goes on, nobody cares about the spear. Like, you can kill Gior with the level 1 spear you get from the first mob at the game, you know, so it's fine. You only need to get strength from gear if that's possible, and even if you don't, this is so OP, like you get so much damage through the strength stacking on the tree that you are gonna destroy and melt every single thing that stands. Yeah, this zone, I hate it so much, it's so bad to read. There are people, for example Angormus, who are extremely consistent at it. I just have no idea. Like, sometimes I just get some dogshit layout that has the arena like near the entrance tile, and I run around the entire zone trying to look for it, and I just don't find it. But yeah, here I think I get a pretty good read. Not perfect, but I mean, yeah, it's good enough. So here I'm trying to like craft a chestplate to get more strength. I don't even know if evasion chestplates can roll strength, but yeah, and Draven can actually be dangerous, right? Because he can deal a lot of burst damage, especially when you're only like level 6, when you haven't been level 7 yet and you only have 150 life. There are runs where I have 225 life at this point, so on those runs it's fine, but as you can see here, I had to like back for a second just to make sure I don't die and then finish him. Now this is like 2 minutes late. I would love to be at Lachlan and like kill Lachlan at 16 minutes, but this is gonna be a pretty bad early game. I mean, I made a huge mistake in Red Vale, I fucked up Grim Tangle, and yeah. This fight actually sucked in this run. This is like the only run where I died to Lachlan, because for some reason he does this stupid attack where and here he's just gonna slam me after the punch. I try to evade and I just die. This is, I believe, the only death in the run. Actually a pretty bad death, but it is what it is. There's 100% sub 30 potential for this category as I get hit again. Yeah, as I said, I'm extremely washed up. I'm playing so bad lately. It happens. But yeah, here he goes down, 18-minute kill. I'm not even sure if I should wait for his loot. However, sometimes it's worth it, right? Like you get an iron ring or something like that that can easily get like a lot of life or strength on it. So I think it's good to wait for his loot, unless you have like crazy gear already. Yeah, this entire zone is basically just hugging the wall and getting to every single point of interest that way. You just one-shot every single mob in the way, as you can see, and basically you get XP automatically by doing this. Like, I'm just spamming my movement to go as fast as possible and stuff is dying and I level up. Now I found the exit to the hunting ground, to the farmlands. However, I need to do Crowbell and I need to get the Freightorn checkpoint, so here's Crowbell. I'm doing it extremely underleveled, but it doesn't really matter because my damage is just insane. Yeah, you just hold the button and this is an AFK fight. Like I'm just holding the button even for this thing, so I don't have to walk, and I can damage him while he runs, even though he has like 90% damage immunity, right? But it's still something, as you will see in the next part of the fight. Like here he has like 40% life. You're gonna see when he reaches the other arenas he's gonna be at like 20, just because I'm spamming my skill and I do so much damage. Yeah, I don't even use disengage really at this point. Like it's only for level, like to get damage at the earliest stage of the run. Yeah, he's just dead. I just have it just in case, because if you do get surrounded and they are extremely tanky mobs, which can happen, you can die in manner. It's not common at all. In fact, it has never happened to me. But I've seen other runners die in manner with this build because they get surrounded somehow. I still don't understand. But yeah, here I get freight turn and I get to Farmlands. This is a 20-minute enter, which is, I mean, it's decent, you know. Like I'm not gonna reset this kind of pace because I wanna get good runs, you know, and maybe I get lucky on freight turn, and maybe I don't know, you know. So yeah, this area actually sucks on Huntress. I don't know why. It's so annoying. Sometimes the exit is at the top, sometimes it's like to the left, sometimes it's deep to the right, and you have like no idea of knowing, like almost never. So I'm just hoping that it's bottom left, because that's by far the fastest possible exit type of this area, right? And it actually saves like 30 seconds to a minute to find it. Now here I see crop circle, which means I'm saved, because when there's crop circle it means the exit is there. So this is a pretty much a perfect hunting farmland split. Nothing else I could have done better. Perhaps some micro movement or something, I don't know, but yeah. Now waypoint, I give the loot to Una to get the extra 2 skill points, and I actually mass buy Scrolls of Wisdom. I just control shift it and I spend my entire gold supply I have on Scrolls of Wisdom, because I'm actually not gonna go back to the vendor ever again in the run. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna go to the town except after freight turn, because of course you have to like get to town to then get to the waypoint, but I'm not gonna go to talk to any vendor anymore. Now as you can see, the tree is extremely cursed. It's just all strength nodes. We're zooming here. Now freight turn, for those of you who don't know, is the most bullshit layout ever. Yeah, so it's basically completely RNG. There's quite literally no way of knowing where stuff is, where the rituals are. The best strategy, like pathing wise, that you can do is to hug one of the walls, because the boss arena always spawns like to the side of the area. So this means that even if you don't find the rituals, at least you're guaranteed to find the boss arena eventually. And then you just explore the rest of the zone, usually just going and doing a loop around it. Now I've lost many good rounds to a bad freight run, and there's nothing you can really do. I mean, it's the nature of Act 1 speedrunning, and it is what it is. But you basically want to get as many rounds up to freight run as possible, because that gives you the best chances of eventually just getting a really good one, which is kind of what happened here. I mean, it's not like a perfect one by any means, but it's still a pretty decent freight run. Yeah, here I just get 2 rituals, one next to another, which means I already have the boss, so I can just TP to the boss, and yeah, it's gonna be a pretty fast battle. And I believe I don't even have a second support gem yet, which means that I'm missing 25% of my damage. And I mean, you can do the druid or Driadic ritual, whatever it's called, I don't know, in the hunting grounds, if you find it. In fact, I do it if I can, if I'm missing the second support gem, but it's definitely not needed, and our damage is like absurd anyways, even without the second support gem. Yeah, I'm just spamming my way to kill these mobs, and when you're doing this parry, like animation cancelling strat, you only do one stomping ground AoE, but when you do the full attack, like what you see me doing right now against the boss, you're actually doing 2 stomps. So that's why I don't spam when I'm against bosses, right? So I get the, yeah, unlucky here, nothing I can do. Unlucky, and yeah, he's already dead, the first phase. Here I'm identifying everything, since I have to wait anyways, right, so I can manage my inventory. I'm just hoping I get something with strength. I don't, however, which is, I mean, unlucky, right? But yeah, now here he gets stunned and the fight is pretty much over. Like, this is so stupid. He's dead. I grabbed the school. Here I was checking if I get a support gem, because it's actually really common to get one of those from the final ritual, I believe. Yeah, now I instantly go back to the village. This is a pretty good run. I mean, the split for the Ogam village usually takes me 1.5 minutes, maybe even 1 minute if it's really fast. I'm actually not sure, but something around that. And yeah, that was really close. I have like no life and no charges on my pots because I'm stupid and I replaced mine with a bigger one. And yeah, I basically have to do this entire zone with no mana. I actually do have charges for my flask, but I don't realize until a bit later, I think. Yeah, and now I just zoom to the arena. This is a really easy zone to read, but this specific layout was kind of weird. I just have to do like some curves for some reason, but yeah, normally it's really straightforward. Yeah, I'm just crafting stuff in the off time to hope I get strength, but I don't. I actually do get a really nice helmet there with like 40 life. But yeah, this fight is also a joke, like you're just holding down left click and everything dies. You just tank everything because you have so much life. Now if you have a second support gem, you just skip even grabbing his loot, you just go straight to the lever and you go to the next zone. But since I needed the second support, I had to wait extra a couple seconds. Now the reason we want so much damage, even more than this, is because we can actually skip some phases in the Count Gear fight, which save like 30 seconds. When he like starts howling and the clouds like come in the arena and the mobs start to spawn, we want to avoid that because it takes 40 years for him to finish doing that. So if you kill him fast enough and you strategically stun him, or freeze him if you're like a sorceress run or something, you can actually skip that phase and be happy, because if you skip it, it becomes like a 1 minute 30-second fight, which is crazy to think about. Now here is where the mana problems start to like appear, right? And that's also why I remove my support gem, or I don't wear my support gem when I'm in this zone, because it's so large and there are no checkpoints in between. So you're pretty much bound to run out of mana unless you drop a greater mana flask somewhere, which I don't, I think. Maybe I have one in my inventory and I didn't notice, but yeah, generally you don't get one unless you shop it at Una, which is actually something I should consider now that I think of it. Like you can just shop a flask at Una and don't have to deal with that having to walk, you know, which is for peasants. Now these zones are extremely easy, like there is literally no danger here. Like the only way you can really die, yeah, and I'm gonna talk about what happened right now here. if you have noticed, there was a OBS notification on the top right of my screen for the entire run until now, and it's actually a bug. I actually play on Mac through NVIDIA GeForce, and for some reason OBS shows you that notification, and if I accidentally click it, it bugs my entire game. Yeah, that notification's above. It bugs my entire game. I have to like open the settings app on my second monitor to make it shut up, and then I can continue playing. It's super annoying, and I actually threw some runs because of it. But yeah, you are not gonna have that problem. It's only my like issue. Yeah, these zones are really easy. You can't really die, except from, of course, the Candlemas, like fire, big attack. Also, this wipe does a fuck ton of damage for some reason. I don't know why. Like one time I got one shot by him and lost a run because of it. But yeah, other than that, if you get the projectile mobs with multiple projectiles on them, then that can kill you, and that's really the only thing. Here I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, stairs. Here is when I look at the clock and I realize what pace I'm on. I'm like, what? This is sub 34, right? I was going for sub 35, and I had such a bad early game that I didn't expect to get something this fast out of this run. Yeah, we're just zooming. I don't really care about XP either, because we have so much strength already that a couple levels, like we're gonna go from 70 strength to 80 strength. That's pretty much, that's not gonna matter almost anything, right? So we don't really care about XP at all. And actually we do end up many times getting to level 13 at the end of the run, just because Rake kills so many monsters while we run, I guess, or jump around while holding our shield. Yeah, and here I am at the Gior arena. I think this skill, or at least the interaction that it has with parry and stomping grounds, I think it will get nerfed, like completely nuked. They will probably make it so that the stomping ground only applies once instead of twice, which would of course nerf the damage by half. I think it's still gonna be a good skill to use just for the mobility of it alone, right? And if they nerf the parry mechanic, we can still spam what's it called? I don't know, like the skill that I have on middle click right now, disengage. We can just, yeah, Huntress is bad, guys, terrible class. We can just spam disengage and rake to teleport to enemies and go fast using that. But yeah, until they nerf this skill or this interaction, this is gonna be the single fastest leveling strategy for every single character. I'm talking Witch uses this, Sorceress uses this, Monk uses this. Every single character you're gonna see is gonna use this strategy in the new upcoming world records for this league. So yeah, get ready to see this exact same gameplay on every single class now, because this is just OP. And I mean, I don't think this is balanced at all. I think it should get nerfed, and I think that every single skill, like not every single skill, but most of the skills from pretty much all classes should be buffed, so we can go fast. I may be biased because I'm a speedrunner, and I want to break records, but yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm just killing gear. The fight is extremely easy. There's like really nothing that can really kill you. Maybe only the, yeah, I don't know, you have like 400 life. If you die, it's kind of a skill issue at this point, right? I died once to Lachlan, which is extremely unfortunate. This would have been my first deathless world record of my life, and yeah, this is actually the fastest 100% Act1 has ever been completed, like recorded slash uploaded that I know of. So that's cool. I mean, we are 100% gonna see sub 30s on, especially on Warrior, but probably on Huntress as well and other classes. So don't forget to subscribe and have a nice rest of your day.
From the Vastiri. Yes.